So initially what we did was we bought a bunch of dates ourselves.
Okay.
Took out the seed, separated it, and consumed the dates because we love dates as well.
Okay.
So we started with 1 kg, then we went up to 5 kg and so forth. But later on we found out that a lot of large farms and factories that process and package dates also produce things like date syrups, date cakes, date pastes, and date sugars. And even a relatively small facility can have anywhere between 2 to 5 tons of date seed waste every single day. We found that back in 2019, over 750 million kilograms of date seeds were produced as part of the dates.
With Dateform, we had a lot of different ideas for it. We wanted to make sure that you could use it up to certain heat standards, up to certain temperatures.
Okay.
Initially, we made smaller scale samples, and we were doing a lot of testing at home. And it was the same for Dune Creete. Because it is a construction material, there was only so much that we could do at home. And then eventually we sort of went out, got them tested properly in labs, and then sort of we took it from there.
Welcome to the Let's Chew podcast presented by Gulfood, the largest annual F&B sourcing event in the world. I'm your host, Juwaria Hirsi, bringing you compelling stories and insights to a wide range of topics in the food and drinks industry, from farming, behind the scenes, to the culinary world, and to foods we simply love to chew on. In this podcast series, we speak to people, brands, and businesses across the food and drinks spectrum to find out more about why they do what they do and how, in their own way, they're championing change and shifting the future of food and drink. Trust me, there's so much more, so listen to the Let's Chew podcast on our website, gulfood.com, and subscribe to our newsletter for the latest updates in food. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Let's Chew podcast. As always, I'm your host, Juwaria Hirsi, and in today's episode, we have the founders of ARDH Collective, who are innovating by transforming waste and natural resources into revolutionary building materials, one of them being turning date seeds into solid surface materials. So welcome to the show, Alyina and Alhaan, and thank you so much for joining me on the Let's Chew podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. So just to get started, let's get to know about why you do what you do. And if you can tell us a little bit about ARDH Collective, what inspired you and how it all started.
ARDH Collective started as university projects. Alhaan is the creative brains behind Dateform, and I'm the creative brains behind Dune Creete, which was also known as Rommel back in the day when we first started.
Okay.
During our independent, studies, we were both given a task of creating sustainable materials in our programs, and then these materials sort of stemmed from that. And then eventually we sort of came together as one.
So Dateform is the world's first date seed-based solid surface material.
Very cool. So tell me about Dateform and how you kind of got that started.
Yeah, so Dateform was a part of my second year university project.
Okay.
And we were given the task to zoom in and look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay.
So we had to pick one. We picked number 12, which outlines responsible consumption and production. And we had to investigate and look within the context of the UAE. So we looked around and we tried to find industries that were producing a lot of different things and ones that had waste byproducts and waste streams. And we found that things that are consumed over here in large quantities, and this is back in 2018, 2019, I'm speaking of, there was a lot less production in general, no matter what industry, within the UAE. But we still found out that tourism, hospitality, food and beverage is massive. A lot of people love to go out and eat.
Yes.
And a key pillar of that is date seeds. Dates are widely consumed throughout the MENA region, and the UAE also holds a big place for that. And palm trees make up a significant chunk of UAE farming and agriculture land, and we found that there's an extensive resource over there that we can investigate. So we zoomed in, we looked around, but at the same time we were interviewing a lot of restaurants and trying to figure out, okay, when you go and serve someone, apart from the plate, what is a form of waste that you get back into the kitchen, and what is waste within your kitchen that you have that you throw away? So we found that a lot of organic waste, cut fruit and vegetable peels, a lot of chicken and other meat bones and fish as well.
Go to waste.
So we're sitting down, and I remember we'd done quite a few interviews, and we sat at a coffee shop and we were served coffee. We just ordered coffee, but we received some dates with the coffee as well. Everything finished, we drank the coffee, but we noticed that we were sending a seed back into the restaurant. So we said, okay, it's a small resource, but there's a significant amount that is produced and consumed locally, so there must be something that we can do with this material. And we found that back in 2019, over 750 million kilograms of date seeds were produced as part of the dates. And a lot of that goes to waste.
Okay. And that's where the epiphany of Dateform.
So a big question we get is, okay, how do you actually collect the seeds?
Yes, I was going to get into that. Do you partner with anybody, or do you guys physically knock on people's doors and tell them?
So initially what we did was we bought a bunch of dates ourselves.
Okay.
Took out the seeds, separated it, and consumed the dates because we love dates as well.
Okay.
So we started with 1 kg, then we went up to 5 kg and so forth. But later on we found out that a lot of large farms and factories that process and package dates also produce things like date syrups, date cakes, date pastes, and date sugars. And even a relatively small facility can have anywhere between 2 to 5 tons of date seed waste every single day. So they have machinery that separates the fruit from the pit, the seed, and we collect that from them and take it through our process. So, yeah.
And do you guys partner with them FOC, or do you have more of a CSR partnerships with these collections?
So for us, sustainability means 3 things. So it's the environment, the planet, but it's also people. So we believe in economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So economic sustainability means that we want to make sure that everyone that we work with profits from our partnership. And the same with the people that choose to work with us. So initially we did collect, if I'm right, around 4 kgs worth of seeds free of cost, and they were gracious enough to do that. But then ever since, we've been paying a nominal fee for the seeds.
You guys have been paying, or?
We have been paying.
Okay.
Yes.
So how much kg do you need to produce your materials, and what materials are you guys producing?
So Dateform, which is one
aspect
line of this wing. So we create solid surface materials from this. So things like this tabletop can be made from our materials, but we also can customize the shapes and forms and types of things we can create from it. But just to give you an example, 1 square meter of our sheet uses approximately 1,000 individual date seeds. So
1,000?
Yes. So we're actually repurposing quite a few date seeds, if you look at it that way.
And where do you guys produce?
We produce it locally in Dubai.
Locally. Okay.
Yes.
And you have a factory in Dubai as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. And how has been like scaling the production here in the UAE so far?
Initially, it was quite challenging. It was, the founders creating it at home and in other tight small spaces for the initial few projects, but the adoption and acceptance of this material has picked up quite significantly, and I think it's because one, it has a positive impact, but the date fruit and the seed itself ties very closely with the people of the UAE.
True.
There's a huge social, cultural, and religious
significance to the date seed itself. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I agree. And speaking of challenges, where were some of your initial challenges in even kind of kickstarting this whole ARDH Collective and Dateform? And you said it's not Ramal anymore; it's
Dune Creete.
Dune
Creete.
Dune Creete.
Yes.
Okay, so what were some of the challenges in terms of capital, scaling the production, looking for, like you said, you were collecting, I think, 4 kgs yourselves or consuming it yourself. What other challenges were there in terms of investments, capital, and funding?
So for our R&D, when we first started researching and developing these materials, it was during the COVID time. So a lot of our testing was done in-house, in our backyard.
Kitchen as well.
Kitchen, yeah. We've broken quite a few utensils and appliances while trying to create these new products. With Dateform, we had a lot of different ideas for it. We wanted to make sure that you could use it up to certain heat standards, up to certain temperatures.
Okay.
So initially we made, smaller scale samples, and we were doing a lot of testing at home. And it was the same for Dune Creete. Because it is a construction material, there was only so much that we could do at home. And then eventually we sort of went out, got them tested properly in labs, and then sort of we took it from there.
Okay. And how did you go from there to a production factory or facility? Can you tell us more about that?
I think as soon as we, so initially a lot of what we were doing was R&D to just experiment what we could do with these resources. So at ARDH Collective, something that we always say is that we are a sustainable materials manufacturer, but one of our focuses is on using regional resources. So things that are available over here. So we just went crazy with these resources because we found that there's a lot of it that we can use. And initially we had ideas of using it in a particular industry or application, but we shifted. We shifted with consumer and customer demand, where people came to us if they had seen something online and said, hey, really nice, really interesting. I'm not too keen on using the material that way, but can it be used for this? So then we had to do a lot more R&D. So initially, a lot of our projects were, tailored to someone who came to us and asked us, can this be achieved? And it was always a challenge, but I think something that we did right. We did a lot of things wrong as well, but something that we did right was we never said no and said, yes, but we'll have to work on X, Y, Z and tried our best to experiment and fail as much until we could land on something.
So if you can just let me know how ARDH Collective, especially with Dateform, has kind of, or what do you hope that it has impact on the food industry as much as it has on the construction industry?
That's a beautiful question. I think Dateform enables the food and beverage industry to look at sustainability through a different angle and lens. Because a lot of the times, I think things that are biodegradable, things that are consumed very quickly and discarded are considered within the space. But I personally have an alternative view that believes that if something is extremely long-lasting and durable, then that is sustainable in many ways as well. I can't remember who, but someone once said the most sustainable option or resource already exists, is one that already exists and doesn't have to be made again. So with Dateform, we try to create things that are, yes, waste-based, but have extremely long lifespans. So I think our second project was for a restaurant and cafe where we produced all sorts of different things that were to be used around, such as bill holders, serveware, for food and drinks. So yeah, this space has been something that we, deeply admire. We do a lot of tables for restaurants and hotels as well, and work in a variety of different other touch points within this space. So one is obviously related to the eating and dining experience, but we've also done a lot of work where our material is used when packaging certain types of food. We've done date packaging, we've done other packaging things as well.
And do you usually get more custom orders, or what is like the price range looking like? And can you tell us a little bit more of the actual product?
I would say most of our projects are custom because everyone wants something specific to their brand, specific to the type of product or service that they're offering. So initially we started off and we spent a lot of time in the design phase where we created a variety of different standardized products. Still, very well designed for different applications. And they then later on served as a reference for people who said, actually, that's a really interesting product, but can we do X, Y, and Z? I don't want the exact same thing. And for us, it was okay because it was a starting point. So the majority of our projects within F&B are custom to some degree. The least amount of customization we probably do is add a logo on. So, yeah. But a lot of the other times, everything has to be customized from the size to the design to the supplementary materials and how we're crafting it. So we do, we're a materials manufacturer, but we do end-to-end product manufacturing for people as well. So we also have a design team and capabilities for you to come to us and say, hey, this is what we want, or this is a problem that we have. Can you help us work on this or solve this? And we take it on for you completely.
Okay, and in terms of competition, what would you say makes Dateform unique, and why are these clients or customers coming to you guys? What's different about Dateform?
I think what makes us unique is visually the material is just different.
Looks different.
Yeah, there's nothing exactly like it.
It smells different as well. If you have a little piece in front of you, you can actually smell the date seeds. And sometimes you can also get a little scent of cardamom as well, because that's really what a lot of these companies use in their production facility. So we have a little bit of that too. Yeah,
that's really cool.
And our material is roasted. So Dateform has two finishes. The darker one, which more people have probably seen, is called It's Roasted, and that's because the seeds are roasted when we process it and refine it up to different grain sizes. So the roasting has a different smell. So to answer your question, one reason is the material is distinctive and unique. The second is because there's a wonderful storytelling opportunity. There's a storytelling opportunity about sustainability, but it also positively reflects on whichever one of our clients is possibly using this. It shows that they are quite considerate. So these are the two main reasons I think a lot of people like using the material.
I think there's another one, which is it's made in the UAE. So a lot of clients are looking towards products and materials that are manufactured locally. They source them locally. Shipment times and lead times are a lot less as well with our material. So that's also a bonus for them.
So for our listeners, how can they get in touch with you if they're opening a new restaurant, or they're looking for materials for their front of house, back of house, or even like their offices? So how can they reach you guys?
They can contact us through our Instagram, our website, our LinkedIn. Our phone numbers are on there as well. So you could drop us a message, give us a call, and we'd be happy to help.
And do you guys do mostly commercial, like commercialized, or do you also do like private and personal, like end customers like us?
We do both. We do both. Yeah, but the majority tends to be B2B, so hotels, restaurants, at least within the space.
Industry. Yeah. All right, wonderful. Okay, I also want to get into the one of the products that you guys have that was interesting to me is your cookies and cream Dateform. What is that? Sounds delicious. Does it smell like cookies and cream?
Not entirely.
Not really. Yeah. The material...
Maybe I was hopeful.
Yeah. The material looks, in our opinion, like cookies and cream. Okay. And that's why we named it that. So we try to be playful and fun with names and finishes where we can. So that's in, a different finish underneath the Dateform wing. Okay. And this material is really special because it can be dyed in so many different ways. So different types of colors of this material can be achieved. So without any dyes, it has more of a limestone-like finish. Okay. So just slightly off-white with the grains of the seed everywhere. And we can use a variety of different dyes. And we try our best to use natural dyes where possible and as much as we can. So things like turmeric for yellow, chilies for a red,
beetroot for pinkish maroons.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Another product that we have is called Datebrew. So it's a date seed based coffee alternative that we produce. It is actually caffeine free, so it's decaf. So I know a lot of people.
Is it coffee?
It's to some degree
coffee,
it is coffee.
Is it tea?
Yeah. It tastes in some sense similar to a light Arabic coffee.
Okay.
But it is decaf, caffeine free. And the seed itself is a really interesting resource because it's, it has antioxidants, a variety of different nutrients. So there are several health benefits of having date brew. But I also do know that a lot of people are choosing a caffeine-free lifestyle in this day and age. So it's a suitable alternative, especially if you want to have, something that tastes like coffee during the nighttime.
True. I would love that.
That's another product that we have.
And is it in the market right now?
Yes.
It is on the market, so you can buy it directly from us, our website, ARDH
Okay.
Instagram, however you choose to contact us, and a few different cafes serve it and sell it across the UAE.
Any in retail, like physical shops?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Soon to come.
Yes.
Is there any other future projects that you guys are looking forward to, maybe in terms of different materials that you guys are looking into? Where do you guys see ARDH Collective going in the future?
So we do a lot of material R&D. We love, going crazy in the lab and trying to spin off more things from resources that we find locally and within the region. But I will shift to Dune Creete now because that's something that we've been working on for a very long period of time. And just recently we hit a new milestone, which Alyina will speak about.
Dune Creete is a desert sand-based low-carbon concrete alternative that can also be 3D printed. We've got a new 3D printer, so now we can 3D print Dune Creete into whatever shape, form that you would like. So I think especially for, let's say, restaurant owners and people in the F&B industry, we'd be able to 3D print tables, we'd be able to 3D print chairs, kiosks, plinths for different touch points around the restaurant. So that's something that we've been researching and working on. We are currently testing out how to dye our concrete as well so that we could offer different color finishes. So that's something that we're really looking forward to and really looking forward to having our products in different spaces across the UAE.
So someone can just come to you guys and be like, hey, I want this funky table set, and then you guys kind of 3D print that.
Yes, we can design and print that
all
material.
From you guys.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Well, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Really cool. All right. We are concluding the episode, but I just wanted to get to know more about you guys a little bit and how you kind of started up the Dubai-based startup and what maybe your backgrounds kind of looked like. So if you can just tell me a little bit more about your history or what you've studied or what your passions were. So maybe Alyina, you can go first.
Sure. So I'm an architect. I studied architecture in the UAE. I did my undergrad at the American University in Dubai. And then I moved to London to do my master's there at the Architectural Association, which is where Dune Creete was sort of born and developed. And Alhaan is a product designer. He'll tell you a little bit more about him. But we've been in the, let's say, design and construction world, and we've been interested in it for a very long time. Our dad is also in the industry and in the business, so I think he's kind of exposed us to it. From a very young age. We've lived in quite a few countries our whole life, so we've sort of seen different types of architecture, different types of building, different types of materials from a very young age. So I think that sort of sparked our interest, and we've always had a very strong interest in sustainability. Our mum is very passionate about sustainability in her day-to-day life. In her day-to-day life. So I think she's also instilled that into us. So I think, that's where it's all kind of begun.
Beautiful. Yeah. What about you?
So one thing I'm not is a material scientist. But I did my undergrad over here at the Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation, where I studied product design and strategy. And then at Imperial and the Royal College of Arts, I studied innovation design engineering. So, problem solving, creating things, looking at things from strategic and a creative standpoint, but also a technical one. and we're also siblings.
Yes.
Yes. So that was a surprise for me, but it's good to see siblings working together.
Yeah.
Beyond the chaos at home. So what would be your advice for, because you guys are the next generation of sustainable material innovators, I would say, or powerhouse. So what would you advise people who are maybe 5 or 10 years ago, what would you tell your self if they want to enter the space, or if they want to kickstart a startup or, a sustainable company? What would you say to them?
I think if you have an idea, just give it a shot. I think we were quite lucky that we had very supportive parents and they pushed us into this space. And I think we wouldn't have had that courage if they weren't there, or if, they didn't sort of encourage us to get into it. So I think just start. It takes time. There's a lot of ups and downs. You will make mistakes, but then you learn from them. We've made quite a few mistakes. We've learned from them. And we're on the other side, and we're growing our business now, which is really exciting. So I think just give it a shot.
I think we're quite lucky for the industry that we're in, the context we're in, and the country that we're in. The leadership and all the initiatives that they have started, kicked off, and promoted help people and businesses like ours. So I think we're in a very special time where if you are working on something that is meaningful in some way to the world, to people, to businesses, to the environment, even to nature in today's world, then there are other entities out there who are willing to help you out in whatever capacity it may be. Another thing I always try to say is don't get too stuck calculating things, because I think in the space when you're trying to start a business or bring your idea to life, people spend a lot of time calculating before they even make their first step. But once they do, they realize that they miscalculated and they have to sort of improvise and do other things anyway. So yes, calculate, don't be foolish, but go out there and learn as you go along. Learn to adapt, learn to pivot. That's something that we've done many, many times. Dateform, in fact, initially started off as this idea where we wanted to make the material something that could be used for disposable cutlery and plates, so a variety of different food packaging. The material worked, all of that worked, but from a financial standpoint, we had a few challenges over there where we were priced slightly higher than the competition. So we found that businesses within this industry, wouldn't be willing to pay that fractional increase. So just keep trying things out, but don't get too stuck and afraid to make a step. Don't take crazy risks that aren't calculated. Take risks, definitely. Don't be foolish, but don't stop moving.
Beautiful. Well, thank you both for coming on the Let's Chew podcast. And it's been really lovely having you.
Thank you for having us. It's been great.
Thank you.